Looking at the moon is a story of how Galileo discovered that the moon is not actually flat, as a lot of people believe. It's about an innovator who's trying to do things in a different way. And that has parallels between what we're doing and what our subject is doing. We're much like Galileo. We're trying to use these new concepts, XR and VR. Basically, can we streamline a lot of these processes to make all-encompassing assets which can have a multiple range of uses? So where this project actually differs from a lot of projects of its ilk is we're making a 16:9 sort of standard traditional film. We're also making a VR game where you walk around exploring the locations within the film. Galileo has a pet porcupine, obviously.
Oh my.
So I think to answer why Galileo, go back a little bit to why the porcupine. So actually, my family and I go to Italy a lot. And when the kids were really little, they'd sit in the restaurant and they'd order these ridiculous-sized calzones that like, were bigger than their heads. And these things would arrive at the table and the kids would just look at it and they're like, ugh. Like they were defeated by the size of this pizza before they'd even eaten it. So we created this character, Ponky, the porcupine, who'd run around the table, snaffling up all the kids' pizzas and stealing them if they didn't eat them in time. Sort of a way to encourage the kids to kind of eat a bit quicker. In the interim, since creating him and getting to this point, sort of doodled a few stories that were quite nice and really liked the idea of this character sort of gently helping out, historical figures. And since I created him in Italy, we latched onto Italian characters, and Galileo was a very obvious choice. And I think there's something appropriate about the scene is Galileo in 1609 testing something, putting something together for the first time and looking at the moon for the first time. And here we are trying to create an animation in a game engine with multiple outputs for the first time. So there's a lot of synergy between those two things, and it just felt really nice. A lot of the tools currently allow you to do one thing really, really well, but do that one thing. And as we start to move forward and look at how new devices are coming along, how viewers want to engage with stories in new and different ways, it's sort of a case of, well, hold on a minute. I can create my animation, I can create my film or my TV show, whatever it is, but then I might want to gamify it. Or then I might want to actually use mixed reality components like an AR or a VR element to it. How do I do that using current pipelines? And the honest answer is with great difficulty, because you do one thing, then you start again and do the next thing, and then you start again and do the next thing. There's not a lot of sharing. Whereas if you start to adopt game engine technology, start to use VR software to create your assets in 3D to begin with, and create a pipeline that flows through, the theory being you can say, well, I can create my 16:9 show now. I can take those assets and those models out of the game engine and create a VR game. I can take those assets out and I can create AR holograms out of them. I can even framework and start to create, comic books, if you like, out of it. So you're suddenly doing a lot more out of the single source, and you're getting a lot more creative output, which will lead to, hopefully, a lot better sort of viewer engagement and interaction, and your story worlds grow.
It's this kind of concept where once you make these assets and create this story world, you can actually use it to offshoot into different, basically, forms of your narrative.
I'm working on the gamification of the looking at the moon animation. And what we're doing is we're building a Unity project, and what we've kind of gone with is a short sort of puzzle game where you're working with Porky and sort of finding these pieces of the telescope around the environment. Just it's so different to a regular flat screen game. You've got to make it so that if you look anywhere, you'll have something to look at and something to do. So yeah, that's definitely one of the big challenges.
We're using sculpting in VR, which is obviously, firstly, it's really fun. Secondly, it's this process whereby you can actually immerse yourself in the world as you're creating in it. So you can set foot in the observatory and sculpt an object, for instance, in there as if you're there. It gives you this kind of connection to your subject matter. So today I had the privilege of directing the mocap stuff, which is obviously absolutely excellent. We sort of planned this out like you would like a sort of a traditional cartoon. So, and if we were animating it, it would take a very, very long time, but of course it would be very much like we'd have full control over everything. This speeds the process up significantly. Seeing stuff in real time is really the benefit of this whole process. For us, it's turned into this kind of like virtual production style thing where it's like we can see the characters moving as we're seeing the actors, their counterparts, moving at the same time. So actually we can get like a real feedback on where they're touching on their face. They can actually see it on the monitors, stuff like that, and figure out their break points. Absolutely love working with the actors, absolutely love working with the team here. And then just seeing it play back like a second after you sort of finish shooting it, it's just amazing. It's just instant gratification, like what wouldn't be fun. The real most challenging part was actually just to have this awareness of what part of the digital stage people were on. It's like, have they got enough room? Are we in dead spots, etc., etc. It's just because we can see it doesn't mean however many cameras around a room can see it.
It's not an intellectual process. It's not like like trying to get into their head. It's a very physical process. It requires sort of a degree of like exaggerating physicality and going further than you think you should. It's not like a very realistic film. You have to go quite far with the physicality. And there's a lot of playing, like the finding those moments of play, because it's not an abstract process. You literally see, like, in real time how your movement impacts. It's a very like direct feedback on what you're doing.
My favourite part about motion capture is the analog and the digital coming together. We had to make props, we had to gaffer tape things to other things and use Velcro and tape and boxes and platforms to build a set to allow the actors to kind of really get into that part. So we're not miming anything, we want to avoid mime. And for me, that's the most fun part of any mocap shoot, is that real-time live problem solving on the day. And that was what we got to do lots of today, lots of set setups and prop setups and just kind of playing with things.
With this kind of work where you're playing an animated, exaggerated character with a large head and large hands, the proportions are all out, you can be very cartoonish and exaggerated. Or when you can see your character in real time, it's a fantastic tool to know exactly how effective whatever you're doing is. You can see your physicalization, your characteristics, and that's so helpful to know, am I on the right track? The interesting thing here is that someone else is going to be doing the voice and the face work as well, the expressions and things like that. So it's really only half a day's work for me.
You could help, you know. I must make a note. Occupy and make the worst assistants.
No, exactly. The point is we're going to do like all the face capture and audio record at the same time. So the theory and the idea that we're trying to prove with the pipeline is that we can just take a completely different actor, a different performance. We want to put this in Italian, in English. We can do multi-language stuff. We just got to find someone to map the face to and then do the audio for.
I work in quite an innovation space. You know, a lot of what we do, both on projects like this and other projects, is pushing the boundary of what's possible. I like to think I'm disruptive, but in a constructive way. I think it's important to try and push the boundaries, find the edges of what's technically capable, and just go there and see what's possible. I think probably the most exciting thing to me right now is we're seeing a world where the storytelling, the world building, the creative is finally coming together with the technology. And you know, we've seen through motion capture and game engine and so forth that they're no longer just enablers, they're not just tools anymore, they actually open up opportunities. And once the creative community understand the opportunities the technical solutions and tools offer them, it's just a whole new game, you know. By not adopting these technologies, they're probably limiting themselves at this point on what's possible. So it's super exciting to see all that coming together. It's a sort of perfect moment where creative and technical can make something really magical.
Obviously, a lot of this stuff is extremely experimental, and we're using a lot of third-party plugins and stuff like that. These often don't mesh together very well. It kind of throws up unexpected problems a lot of the time. A lot of it's very intensive. I've blown out my computer this week. I've got a new computer, which is good. Galileo is very much driving the plot. He's the one who's like, we've got to look at the moon, we've got to discover, we've got to find out new things. And Ponky just likes to eat. Now, the relationship between the two seems fairly stretched at times. And a lot of that is to do with their different goals. Are they pulling in the same direction? But actually, that doesn't really matter sometimes. As long as we're complementing each other within our work, if we've got different goals, that's absolutely fine.
And over the next couple of years, I don't think there'll be a piece of content made that doesn't have game engine in it somewhere. I think there's still a little way to go for that to happen, but we're definitely on the path to it. And I think the fact that we can innovate and play with and create content using these tools is only going to push that along faster. It's certainly going to push along our understanding of it, and that's going to be a great thing for driving forward.